Salut! So this week I decided to do things a little different. I know it is a holiday week. Usually we have a day off. So I want to just take the workload down just a little bit this week. We'll go back to normal next week. So we're going to concentrate on some culture. Some of this we've talked about in class. It's just shown a different way. And I'm going to be, so that reading is going to be all in English. Your responses will be all in English. But what we're going to do is we are also going to have a video that you're going to watch that is in French. And I'll explain that in a second. So we're going to talk about education in France. Just a brief little synopsis. You're going to read about education in France. There's so much more than this. This is just to give you kind of the introduction. We have talked a little bit about it in class off and on. So you do have a little bit of introduction already. This goes into more detail actually about the high school and the university than what we maybe had done in class. A couple of things just to remember. Remember, le bac or le baccalauréat is the giant exam they take to basically decide did they pass high school or not. It also is kind of the scores are determining what they're going to do after high school and where they're going from there. So the baccalaureate is a very big deal in France. And so its nickname is Le Bac. We've talked about that in class, I believe. The other thing it doesn't mention in here that is different than our school is that they do have school on Saturdays, just a half day, just till about lunchtime. And sometimes they don't have school on Wednesdays. So some schools, it kind of depends on where the school's at. Some school will have school on Wednesday and just have a half day until lunchtime, just like they do Saturdays. And some schools don't have school on Wednesday. So their day is set up different than ours. They also go to school till closer to 5 o'clock most days. And some days in the high school, even like 6 o'clock. But then on some of those days, they get to sleep in a bit and go to school at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So they do have a bit of a different schedule. Not everyone does the exact same schedule every single day. So your schedule might be different than your friend's schedule. Maybe one day they're going to school at 10 and you're going to school at 8, which is kind of different, very different than our very structured of we all start at the same exact time and we all end at the same exact time. So I'm not going to make this video very long. So read this. Then on the next page, this is a video about, this is one of my, one of the culture people I follow, and her name is Kate, and she's American who lives in Paris. And it's actually been kind of interesting, especially during this time of following her, because she's showing kind of what's going on in France at the moment too. But this is an older video from, I think, back in the fall. So this is her and her friend. She is an American, Kate's American, and her friend Apolline is from France. I believe she said she was just from outside of France. I'm sorry, not outside of France, outside of Paris, and more in the countryside is where she grew up. She lives in Paris now. So you're going to watch this. Now, when you watch this, go ahead. It's going to be in French. You do know a lot of this vocab, so I'm pretty confident that you're going to understand a lot of it. I don't think you'll understand all of it, but remember, we listen for the gist of it. What can you understand? What vocab can you grasp onto and get your meaning from that? And a lot of this, we've done a lot of school vocab. We've done a lot of the vocab and things that they're going to be talking about. So I think you might be surprised about how much you really actually do understand. But I do still want you to turn on the closed captioning. So click on the CC and turn the closed captioning on to English. So you can read it like subtitles as they're also talking. So you'll have a couple different ways to gather the information. As far as the actual work you're turning into me, it's not much this week. You are just going to be answering these 6 questions. Okay, remember, I'm trying to just this week, with it usually being a shortened week, and I don't know how much other work you have from your other classes this week. I want to just take a little bit of our load off. We'll be back to our normal VHL next week. But these 4 questions are from the reading, so go back to the first page if you need to. And these 2 questions are from the video. Okay, and again, you're just going to type underneath them. So when you click, you'll be able just to click and like type your answers. Okay, no big deal. You can even space out different, doesn't matter to me. I'm going to link this on for each of you individually. Okay, so when you're writing on this and typing on this, that is your document. That's good. When you go to submit it, I will be able to see your responses, and I'll be the only one who can see your responses. So you don't need to worry about that you're typing and someone else is typing at the same time. So this will be your individual document by the time you're done with it. All right. So this week we're talking about education in France, and also comparing a bit about what the differences are and similarities are to what's like in the US. So have a great week. I will talk to you again next week. Tout à l'heure.